I'm Connor Rold, and this is Old Oscar Countdown. And today we're going to be looking at the best animated picture category, best animated film, you'd say. And this year it's going to be super competitive. It's overall been a really good year for animation. Not too many duds if you're discounting things like Norman in the North from the beginning of the year, but we're not. We're looking at just the mainstream sort of DreamWorks, Pixar, but even some of the smaller ones will go into our possibles that can get in there. Even one of our nominations is a different one from one of the mainstream box office ones. But regardless, all the animation that I've seen so far this year, and most people have seen so far, is a good one. People have enjoying animation a lot. It's a good year, I think at least, and it's going to be a competitive Oscar race in terms of who's winning. I think the nominations are pretty easy to guess. There might be a couple upsets here and there, but I'm going to get. I think I have to get probably like or four of the five. I think. But anyways, if you're new to the show, I'm Connor Roll. Each week we break down a different category up to predict the Oscars 2017 nominations, and then from there we'll go. Once the nominations are announced, we'll announce who I think is going to win, and we'll continue the series all the way up into the Oscars. Next week we're probably going to be looking to do best documentary. And then the week after that, probably gonna have to start grouping things together because the way the schedule is working out right now, we might have to do some of the smaller categories, but categories that make sense. At least I'm going to try to work together. So like production design, costume design, and makeup and hairstyling will be one episode. Of course, they'll have their own nominations process, but uh, they'll all be into one cumulative episode. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to read off who I think is going to get nominated, and then some possible ones, and then from there I'll break down each single one and say why I think that's going to get nominated. So Moana, Kubo and the Two Strings, Zootopia, Finding Dory, The Red Turtle, and then Possibles. A G Kids film, so Miss Hokusai, or April in the Extraordinary World, Sausage Party, and Sing. So let's go into the first one, Moana. I've not seen this animated movie. I've seen most of the animated movies on this list. I've unfortunately not seen this one. I will be seeing it soon. So by the time I do my sort of cumulative updates right before the Oscars nominations, and if I change anything, which I will be, because we do them so far ahead, it's hard to judge. That will definitely. I had seen it by then, and then maybe change my prediction of who's going to win. But that's in the whole other videos and nominations right now. I've heard great things from Moana. I heard it's very much like an Aladdin, Little Mermaid, sort of that '90s musical where it's typical the story essentially, but it's got amazing music by the guy who did Hamilton, Lin Manuel Miranda. It's got great voice acting, and I really just think that it's an overall fun movie. I've heard great things about it, and I think Disney animation has been killing it recently. They won with Big Hero 6 the year before Inside Out, and the year before that they won with Frozen. So a category that's mostly dominated with Pixar, Disney's starting to come through and sort of dominate that field. And so the next one I've seen is my favorite animated movie of the year, from what I've seen. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. This is Kubo and the Two Strings from Leica Animation. I'm a big fan of Kubo and the Two Strings. I'm a video game guy, and this is the most video game movie I could think of. It's so much in terms of the perfect levels, great, and it's got some great characters in Kubo. I mean, the story doesn't work without Kubo because he really is just a really likable character. And the essentially the story, it's a simple story, but it's in terms of a legend. That's how I'd say the story's played out. A legend that's passed down through a village in a sense. And the animation is just gorgeous. You know, Leica, if you don't know, has done Box Trolls, who's got nominated before. Uh, and they do stop motion animation. So I just think Kubo's a really good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. And I think it's going to get nominated because things like Box Trolls in the past have gotten nominated. And even though Box Trolls wasn't a great movie, this one definitely deserves recognition and has been winning some awards recently, too. And the next pick is the one that's super hard and I find the most conflicting, which is Zootopia. Now, I saw Zootopia. I wasn't a huge fan of it as other people were. I had a lot of problems with the story and just how it was portrayed, and like the message that they're trying to portray, which ultimately a good message, but I think flaws were happening in execution. But that doesn't matter because a lot of people like this movie. I think it has a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which is insane. I know people really in the industry love this movie and really crave about this movie. So even though it's probably not my pick, my top two would probably be Moana, Kubo and Two Strings for in terms of what I think is going to win. Zootopia is up there. It could definitely surprise and upset, but it could also be a situation with the Lego Movie where because it came out so early in the year, that the Oscars almost forget about it in a sense. Uh, Also, we have Finding Dory. That's the next one on our pick, and I saw this movie. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a cute movie. It's not one of Pixar's best, which is ultimately disappointing. But it's better than things like Brave, which is one before. Uh, but that's the problem I see here. I don't think it's necessarily winning because I don't think it's Inside Out, where it's just a really good movie and people love it. It's a good movie. It's a cute movie. It's not necessarily Pixar heavy emotional movie, although Pixar has those scenes and they set the bar so high that it's so hard to achieve it. But I think it's going to get nominated. People don't even have it on their nominated list just because of the quality of the movie. But the quality of the movie is good. It's got 89% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. People really like it. I like it a lot. And just because Finding Nemo won before, I think they're going to give them just the nomination for sure. The next one is from Studio Ghibli, who's done things like Spirited Away, which actually won the Oscar in 2002 for Best Animated, and they've always been in the nomination process. They're pretty well respected now. That's the big three: Disney, Pixar, and then Studio Ghibli. I believe have the top three nominations. Well, DreamWorks because of Shrek probably, but they're always in the conversation. They make amazing movies, anime style movies. So similar to like that Japanese animation anime, essentially, they do that. I have not seen the Red Show, although I've heard really good things. Nothing that says it's gonna like win for me necessarily, but that nothing that's gonna get nominated and better than some of these B tier sort of animated movies that we've seen this year that have been good but have not been great. Now on to my possible, which is G Kids movies. So Miss Hokusai and April in the Extraordinary World. And if you don't know what G Kids does, I didn't really know either. They're really new on my forefront, but the way I would describe them is the A24 of animated movies. They really look at out indie animated movies from smaller studios that make great movies, and then they distribute them into theaters and publish them. Not publish them, sorry, but just distribute them. And these two have been sort of the forefront leaders. I think that maybe if they want to introduce like a new studio that represents that is under the umbrella of G Kids, that sort of represents the indie space, I think Oscars can definitely recognize that. But I don't know too much about the movies and their quality, so I'm not necessarily going to speak on their behalf. The next one is Sausage Party, which is a really interesting one because this is a rated R comedy. Some people think that it can get in for the nomination because they've been campaigning, not hard, but they've been campaigning for sure, show that animation is not just all kids' movies, a family-friendly category, but can show R-rated categories as well. And we see the rise of things like Deadpool early in the year, where I would like to see Deadpool get some nominations. It probably won't, though. It's such a great movie. But we saw that where it's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. Sausage Party has been taking so much long to get made and finally is made, so I think that it's almost an achievement in itself that it did get made and did well. I saw the movie. It's funny knowing if you go in knowing what it was. They just say F word a bunch of times and it's just like goofy. Nothing really deep about it. The last scene of the movie is really really funny though. Nothing entirely special, but still a good movie. And the last one I have on the list is Sing. Now I don't think this is going to necessarily play well in theaters as it does in festivals. When the festival circuit came around, I was like, oh, Sing, I've heard such great things. This could get an Oscar nomination. But as I thought about it, as sort of the buzz has died down for me for Sing, it might jump back up when it releases in theaters. But we're going to be releasing around so many sort of great movies in that late December release date. But the way they described that TIFF was it played like a concert. Because the movie Sing is about a musical competition and animals competing in it. So many animal movies this year, right? That it was almost like a concert. They would do them around and everyone would clap the entire theater. But I don't think that's going to necessarily translate to general theaters as the festival audience, and I'm not sure it's going to translate necessarily to kids. I think it's going to have a lot of great tunes. It's going to be a fun time. But I think it might be either too late or not going to resonate well enough in theaters, which is a big thing for animated. I think Finding Dory is the biggest amount of money this year, made over $1 billion. So it almost has to get nominated in a sense. Or else it's sort of not like if they replace it with the G Kids movie, I think people will be disappointed. That's aside the fact. Sing, I just don't think it's going to translate well. And then the next two, we have things like Storks, which was pretty good. Trolls, which I have not seen, but I heard is pretty good. Essentially, though, I think that my nominations are pretty solid. G Kids, I'm not too sure about. Sausage Party, maybe. Sing, probably not. But I think my nominations are good. I'm hoping for a full, clean sweep. But the hard part is after deciding who's going to win. I don't want to say anything right now because I haven't seen all the movies, but I gotta go with who won two strings. So, if you like the video, subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff. I love hearing your comments. And until next time, stay tuned.